Well, hey, everybody. Welcome to the update stream. This is Bugs here. I'm joined today by Artemis and Shadow. Say hi, guys.
Hi, everyone.
Hey everyone.
So, what do we have going on today? Well, it is the 1st of December, and we are in store for an update here. Within the hour, it looks like at 2 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. GMT, the update will go live. And with that, we have a ton of quality of life changes. In fact, I'd venture to say this is a quality of life update because, man, has the team at Face Punch really gone above and beyond over the past couple of weeks, really just listening to the community, hearing out what changes people wanted to see, what balance they wanted to see, all this stuff. And they have been just cranking on a ton of quality of life updates. So many that we had to make an ancillary doc to our normal Rustafied.com article just because it was so much going on. So, what we're going to do, as always, is we're going to go through what you can expect to see in this update. We will be available to answer some questions as we have the time too. As always, feel free to do at shadow_rustified in chat for any of your questions, because that will help her see the questions and help us get to them. Now, with all first Thursday updates, this update does come with a forced map wipe. There is no sign of a forced blueprint wipe, but the maps will wipe across the board when this update hits within the hour. And now, with that, there is just, as I said, a ton of quality of life updates. So, what we did over here was we kind of split it up into a couple different categories. And I do recommend, more so than normal, just head to rustified.com and check that out. And also, we link to the ancillary doc. It's just a public Google Doc you can look at to see the full list of everything coming. But we did split it up into four categories, starting with progression. So the team did do a couple shifts to loot and events and storage, things that will impact how players progress after a wipe. And so, first and foremost, there will be just one underwater lab instead of three per map. Now, with that, they did modify the spawning properties of that one underwater lab to make sure that it is like the largest one possible. They basically spawned 25 in and then looked at like the biggest one they could get. So, although there is only one underwater lab after this wipe, it will be one very large one. Now, also, the reset timers on oil rigs have been increased. So it's going to be less frequent that you're going to be able to, work that oil rig. Also, cargo ship event will happen less often as well. So just a little less frequency for some of these in-game events. There's also been tweaks to the heli loot. So when it drops, there's going to be a less chance of getting low tier weapons and no more chance of getting a one low end attachment like a really crappy drop, or uh, uh, no more chance of getting a single laptop or CCTV in the drops. So what they've done basically is they've buffed the heli loot drops. They got rid of some of the lower end crap. They also removed the stone spear from elite and hackable crates. So you're no longer going to just hack a crate and find a stone spear in there. That's good. And also, this is a big one too. Quarries and pump jacks now run on diesel. So no more low grade fuel for those guys. You're going to need diesel to run those quarries and pump jacks around the map. And now, with that, they did increase the spawn of diesel and added diesel spawns to various monuments around the map. So you're also going to find more diesel around the map as you're going around. And I'll discuss a little bit more on the diesel stuff below, or later, I guess. I'm reading my own article, so it's below for me. But I'll tell you more about that in a minute. But bunch of other stuff before that also. We've got storage increases to hot air balloon, to boat, to rib, and to sub. So basically, hot air balloon went from 12 to 18. Boat went from 12 slots to 18 slots. The rib went from 30 to 36 storage slots. And the sub also went from 12 to 18. So those are just some of the various things that might impact progression after the wipe. Now, next kind of section we have here, next category we have is rating, because the team did do some significant changes to specifically kind of shift and slow down how rating works. First and foremost, armored double door and armored door have had their HP buffed from 800 to 1000. So where it used to take 2 C4 to get through an armored door, we're now talking 3 C4 to get through both of those armored doors. Now, another interesting thing with rating is this debris blocker that has been added to external walls and gates. And so, what that does basically is when you are going through, when you destroy an external wall or gate, there's now this debris blocker there. It's like a little stone block with 300 health. And what that blocker does, well, it's true to its name. It blocks anyone from building there. So that's going to basically stop people from just spamming new walls down during a raid because, well, they're going to have to wait for the debris blocker to go away, which takes 2 minutes or 120 seconds. Or alternatively, they can kind of speed up that process by destroying the blocker. The blocker there has 300 HP and can be destroyed. Your best bet is probably with a jackhammer. Now, Artemis, are we still seeing this here? Is that it? Oh, there we are. Okay.
Yeah, it's very much there. It's just a bit hidden in the terrain there, but yeah.
Yeah. And so that's going to be there for 120 seconds and block you from spamming down new building blocks right there until it's destroyed. And once again, you can destroy it. You can pickaxe it if you want, but probably the best bet is a jackhammer. Will get through it quickest if you want. But yeah, that's going to stop people from spamming new external walls and gates down right after they've been destroyed. Now, also, the despawn time for many items has been greatly increased. It's been up to 60 minutes. So, a lot of this higher tier items dropped on the ground will last now a whole hour. So, for instance, if you're raiding someone and they go start despawning stuff, you're going to have a lot more time to get in there and get access to the stuff because it will last now 60 minutes, which is a huge increase from a lot of the other despawn times previously. Now, also, they fixed some exploits where people could hit weak spots when they technically shouldn't have been able to. And so that's going to stop some raiding exploits and some building exploits and stuff like that. It looks like also with some of these changes to sockets and placement and everything like that, certain types of loot bunkers are no longer viable, but some appear to be. I'm sure the meta of this will work its way out pretty quickly here, but it does look like certain types of bunkers that people were building before are no longer feasible. So, yeah, that's going to impact rating as well. Now, also, we just have general quality of life because, well, that is the name of the update, right? Just quality of life. So these are just things that really just improve the overall experience of the game for the players. So, one, and this is a biggie, they are going to display a UI alert when server events happen. So, like airdrops or cargo ship or an oil rig comes back online, uh, you will see an actual UI element on the bottom right of your screen. And that will display to everyone in the server. And now the reason for this, and even Facepunch did acknowledge this isn't the most like ideal method for this. But what they're doing is basically combating and leveling the playing ground because with the Rust Plus mobile app of the game, some people have been clever enough to figure out ways to, tap into that API and then create some ancillary things that will alert people when server events happen. And so to just level the playing field for everyone, instead of some people having access to that because they're clever, now it's just going to alert in game in the UI for everyone when any event in the server happens. So this may change because FacePunch did acknowledge this wasn't the most elegant solution for it, but for the time being, that's just going to level the playing field for people out there. Now, also in general quality of life, they have show X days of upkeep after 72 hours. So previously it would just be greater than 72 hours when you have more upkeep than that. Now it will show the specific number of days that you have upkeep available in your base. So that's good. You'll know if you have a week of upkeep available because it will say 7 days. You won't have to guess anymore based on, oh, it's greater than 72 hours. Now, also, they are allowing the rotation of roof blocks before placement. So that was one of the requests uh, from the community, as most of these were, and they just popped that in so you can rotate roof blocks before placing them. Now, also along the same line, external walls and gates can be rotated 90 degrees instead of 180 degrees before deployment. So you'll have a little more flexibility there when rotating external walls and gates. Now, they did also update the T3 Workbench deploy guide, so it now uses the complete model. So that was just fixing some placement issues with the T3 Workbench. Also, they updated the Stone Gate deploy guide, so now it includes rotated doors to indicate the open direction. So it's just easier for you to see which way they're going to open, as opposed to before it was kind of hard to tell. Now, they also updated the ooh, oh, I lost my place. There we are. They remove condition for most electrical entities so they can stack easily when picked up. So this doesn't apply to batteries and solar panels and windmills and turrets, but a lot of the smaller electrical devices and everything like that now just don't have condition, I should say. So you can stack them easily, you can pick them up, and all that good stuff. You don't have to, worry about it as much. It's just much easier to work with those items now. Also, the garage door no longer requires a hammer to be equipped when picked up. So it still requires building off and the lock to be removed. But now it's in line with other doors where you can, you don't need a hammer to pick up the garage door. They also reduced the crafting time for all grenades and embrasures. So it's just going to be quicker to craft those items, which is good. And also, the rowboat now dismounts the player if it's inverted, even if it's not clipping into anything. So, and you can't mount on a boat if it's already flipped. So that's just going to be easier. No more, floating upside down and trying to flip it back upright and all that good stuff. Wow, this is a long list. Okay, we're going to move on. There's more in general quality of life, but I'm just going to move on to fixes because that's our next category here. They did fix a ton of things, a ton of miscellaneous things in the game. So there were instances where the patrol helicopter was getting stuck in fishing village on certain seeds. That's been fixed. They fixed the patrol heli in CH-47 not patrolling um, randomly to safe zone monuments. Also, a big one I noticed when I hit F1 and got into the game, the UI resolution scaling is much better. It was not working properly, and so it just wasn't looking good at higher resolutions, especially 4K. And now everything is looking much clearer, much easier to see. They just really fixed the resolution scaling there, so it's just easier on the eyes. They also fixed doorways and door frames and windows snapping to the floor rather than the top of walls when building jump ups. So it also allows floors to connect to the middle of the above blocks. That does provide no stability though. So it's just some placement fixes and tweaks. They also fixed right clicking into a repair bench, not swapping the items. They fixed gap allowing line of sight access to coaling tower exit corridor. They fixed button so it passes through full power for zero point 0.5 seconds when connected in pass-through mode. So that's behaving as originally intended now. They fixed getting stuck on the top of netting placed in wall frames. So you're going to have an easier time traversing those nets and everything. And they fixed player name label not showing up when obscured by snowman headwear, pumpkin headwear, nomad suit, backpack, Arctic suit backpack, etc. So it's just the name label wasn't showing up in certain places. It's going to show up now more often. And they also fixed deploy offset of the press button so it can be placed near the floor. And they fixed streamed radio audio looping incorrectly if players' performance drops below 10 FPS. So if you had, streamed radio issues uh, on low FPS, that should be resolved now. They also fixed a shop front exploit, uh, and they also fixed it being a little broken. So that just the shop fronts will be a little more workable now. And now for some big ones, because those are like just a whole bunch of miscellaneous random quality of life and balance things, right? And then there's a couple larger ones. Specifically, code locks are now able to be on cars. So they've replaced the key locks with code locks on cars. So when you have a modular vehicle and you bring it to a lift, you can now add a lock just like before. It's the same price, 75 frags, but then you can also set a code there. And once you type the code into one of those code locks on any car, it's whitelisted. So you don't have to type it multiple times. Once you unlock the car once with the code, you'll be able to access it nice and easily. Now, of course, people are thinking, well, how do I break into a locked car if I want to get access to the loot and everything? Well, to do that, you just have to get the vehicle chassis health down to 20%, and that will trigger a break lock command. You can also, if you're so inclined, push the car to a vehicle lift, but also keep in mind pushing is disabled in safe zones, so you're not going to be able to do that if you really want to get it to a lift in a safe zone. At the moment, this is an initial implementation, so there's no guest codes as of yet, but the devs have acknowledged this is a first implementation and they might add some more features such as guest codes or something like that in the future. So that is code locks on cars, and that's a biggie. Now, also, we've got quarries and pump jacks now use diesel. As I mentioned before, uh, when you find a quarry and a pump jack around the map, you will need diesel fuel to run it. So the outputs with this have been tweaked, and more diesel loot drops, as I mentioned, have been added. They've been added to water treatment plant, power plant, military tunnels, junkyard, and airfield. So you're just going to find more diesel around the map, and now you actually have a lot more to do with that diesel because it actually runs these pump jacks and quarries. And also, the other change with this is mining quarries will now give items over time rather than dumping them all at once. So you can kind of collect it as it's going. So, some initial values based on the commits. And keep in mind, all this stuff is subject to change. In fact, with an update this large and with this many miscellaneous things changing, I wouldn't be shocked at all if we see one or several hot fixes over the next couple days just to tweak some things that really weren't apparent until this went into production and we have players playing at scale. But anyway, so the quarry will consume one diesel in 40 minutes and it will yield out of that either 50 high quality metal or 5K stone and 1K metal or 1K sulfur ore. So that is the quarry outputs as it stands now, one diesel, 40 minutes. And also with the pump jack, one diesel will be consumed in 15 minutes, and that one diesel will yield you 60 crude and 170 low grade fuel. So that is the quarry and pump jack diesel change. Now, also, we've got a nerf to slugs, specifically shotgun slugs now do 50% damage at 40 meters, whereas previously that was 75% damage at 80 plus meters. So that's a big nerf to the shotgun slug. Once again, 50% damage at 40 meters as opposed to 75% damage at 80 plus meters. So it's going to do a lot less damage at distance. Now, the flip side of that is the shotgun slug also now does 100% damage at 0 to 20 meters, as opposed to that was 0 to 10 meters. So at those shorter distances, you're going to get a little more. You're going to get a little more damage at that 10 to 20 meter realm. But once you go 40 meters plus, it is 50% damage, a lot less than before for the shotgun slugs. Also, if you are a fan of gambling and specifically the newest game to gamble in Rust, Blackjack, well, you can now do so in a safe zone. Previously, you could only do it at the cabooses around the map and they had no safe zones, but never fear. A caboose has been added to the outpost, allowing players to play blackjack, poker, and slots with no worries of, getting mugged because it is, after all, now in a safe zone. Also, we've got Rust turning 9. Holy cow, Rust is turning 9 on December 11th. And if you haven't been around for a previous Rust birthday, it's a cool time. The day of, what they do basically is a special in game server event where you spawn with some cake and party hats. and you'll find balloons in loot around the server. So that's going to be once again December 11th, 10 days from now. And it's just an event that automatically runs that one day. And you'll get some extra stuff and have a good time. It's a nice festive affair. And happy birthday to Rust. Like, holy cow, it's turning 9 over here. And with that, just a huge thank you to Facepunch for spending the last 9 years developing and fixing and adding to this incredible game. And it doesn't seem like there's any slowdown in development here. So I'm excited to see, where this game goes in the next 9 years. I don't know if it's going to be developed for another 9 years, but it is really cool to see this is still a thriving game. We're still seeing new stuff every month, and it's almost 10 years old already. Like how crazy is that? That's pretty rare in the video game space. So congratulations and happy birthday to Rust. Now, also in other stuff, coming mid-December, we are going to have the Xmas event for Rust. That's the in-game Xmas event. That's happened several years running now. And it looks like, along with all the stuff you're probably used to from previous years, if you've ever been there for a previous Xmas event, so the things like Santa's sleigh going overhead instead of airdrops and dropping better loot, and then every in-game day you'll hear some jingle bells and presents spawn around the map, and you whack those present boxes open, and then you get actual present items. There's small, medium, and large presents. You can take the small and upgrade to medium. You can take the medium, upgrade to large, or you can just open them at any point and get a gift. And of course, the gifts get better as the size of the present gets larger. But on top of all that, it looks like there's some new stuff with like gingerbread portals and some new Xmas content that the team is working on. We've seen a bunch of commits around the Xmas 2022 event. And so we're going to be keeping a close eye on that. I think that event goes live on the 15th, but it might be the 22nd. I'm honestly not sure, but it's going to be one of those two things. So either 2 weeks or 3 weeks from now. And that won't force a wipe when it goes live like other holiday events. It just comes mid-month, doesn't force a wipe, but it is a mandatory update, and that releases all this content. I'm sure there'll be a bunch of great stuff on the item store, seasonal items, and the like. And so keep an eye out for that. And you better believe on Rustafied.com, the day that that is coming out, we'll have a summary of everything you need to know about the Xmas 2022 event. And of course, we'll be here because we're here every week, Thursday, 1 p.m. Eastern, to just give you a preview of what's going on in Rust development. Now, also, finally, but last but not least, certainly, in the realm of other stuff, a burst module has been added to the MP5 and LR300. So that's in the wake of the prototype gun coming in with the burst module. And now what they just did is they took the MP5, they took the LR300, and they added by default that burst module as an option. So they can go, full auto or burst fire. And with that also, you're probably thinking, oh, does that mean I can recycle it and get a burst module? Well, it looks like for the MP5, yes, but the LR300, no. And let me confirm. Shoot, where are my notes on that? I believe that was. I hope I'm not getting those reversed.
Yeah, I just want to say I put the LR in and did get a burst module earlier as well, so I'm not sure.
Okay. And also this was tested 2 days ago. It might have changed. If we can, let's recycle an MP5 and an LR300 because.
Yeah, sure, I'll do it again.
All right, awesome. Because yeah, we were seeing one of them wasn't given a burst module, what the other one was. It might have shifted, and it might have been the LR given the burst module, and the MP5 wasn't. And also, I'm not sure you get a burst module with every recycle. It might only be certain ones, but let's see.
Do 2 for 2, eh?
Yeah.
Yep, there's one from the LR.
Okay, cool.
The MP didn't get one this time.
Okay, so I think that might have been it. The LR was dropping the burst modules, and the MP5 wasn't.
Yeah.
But But cool. And keep in mind, all this subject to change. But yeah, the MP5 and the LR300 now come by default with a burst module. And what you do, the default key to switch the fire mode is M. So keep that in mind. Once you got that, if you want to switch to burst fire or not burst fire, just tap the M key while you've got those weapons deployed. And you'll see a little thing that says burst enabled or burst disabled. But yeah, that about does it for what we've got going on. I did just do kind of the main talking points for overall quality of life. Once again, there are more things coming in. It was so much. It was it we didn't even fit it all on one article. So we did create this ancillary Google Doc. You can find it linked on rustified.com to see the full list of everything. But in the meantime, Shadow, we have any questions from the audience we want to cover?
Yes, we have a ton. When is whip and is it a force wipe today?
So whip is when the update hits, and yes, it is a forced wipe today, and so that's how that works. On non-first Thursdays, servers will wipe at their regular scheduled time, but for today, for the first Thursday update, and that is when all the content is released and a map wipe is forced, we have the update hit when it goes live, and we have the map wipe happen when that update hits. So with that, the general time is half an hour from now, well, 34 minutes to be more precise, but that's 2 p.m. EST, 7 p.m. GMT. And shout out to Facepunch because they've been really solid and really on point for, well, years now on getting that update out on time. I remember a time because I've been reporting on this stuff for, man, almost the entire history of Rust. There were many times in the past where the update didn't have a set time, and we might be here streaming update preview stuff for like 3 hours waiting for the update to hit. But I'm thankful those days are behind us, and the update does have a specific time that the team is historically speaking very good at launching at, and that time is just half an hour from now. So what we'll probably see, and we'll update the overlay on the top left on our stream when it happens, but generally speaking, we see the server update hit first about 15 minutes before the turn of the hour, and then about 10 minutes after that we see the dev log and the client update go live, and that is when we say the update is officially live, and we go and we wipe all our servers, and every other server owner wipes their servers as well because, well, it is a forced map wipe. No forced blueprint wipe today, although many, in fact, most Rustified servers do wipe blueprints today, with the exception of our medium 3 servers, because those only wipe blueprints when forced.
We did get a sub from Gunnar Mattern. Thank you for that.
Awesome. Thank you guys for the subs. I do just want to take a moment to thank everyone for tuning in. Many people think we are the developers of the game or we're on the Facepunch payroll. And that, in fact, is not the case. We're just an independent organization made up of fans just like you who we just love this game. We love reporting on the development of this game and running the best servers that we can. And the only way that we can do that is, quite frankly, through the support of the community. So, to everyone who tunes in and watches, to everyone who throws us bits or subscribes on Twitch, and to specifically our wonderful, beautiful VIP customers, thank you all so much for the support because literally we wouldn't be able to do this every week and run the servers we do if you guys didn't support us. So thank you.
Did the slugs get nerfed?
Oh, yeah, slugs got nerfed. Specifically, shotgun slugs got nerfed in a pretty big way. It is 50% damage at 40 meters out. Whereas before it was 75% damage at 80 plus meters out. So where you used to be able to snipe people from a distance and get 75% damage on them, now when you're doing that 40 plus meters, it's only going to be half the damage. Now, the other part of that slug change is that the shotgun slug now does 100% damage at 0 to 20 meters, whereas before it was only 0 to 10 meters. So that is a bit of a buff there, but overall, I'd say this is considered a nerf. So in that 10 to 20 meter range, you're going to get more damage than you did before. But 40 plus meters, it's really a much bigger drop off than previously we were seeing.
I have a question about queries. At the information you gave us, it says query takes 40 minutes to give full output, but when I tested it, it took about 2 minutes.
Yeah, I don't know. This is I base these numbers off of the commits, and quite frankly, it might have changed. The other thing is apparently one diesel is consumed in 40 minutes, but it's going to be dropping stuff. Uh, the change they did, mining quarries will give out items over time rather than dumping them all at once. I'm not sure if that's at play here. But also, these numbers might just have changed in the past day, and my article and my information is totally wrong now. And if that's the case, I'll try to fix it immediately. And can we
Yeah,
set up a quick test here?
I actually did. Yeah, I just run one diesel through the pump jack here. It definitely. I don't think it was even 15 minutes at the moment. So I think they
Yeah,
may have
that's funny.
changed it.
I was thinking when I was writing this, I was like, man, that seems like a long time, doesn't it?
Right? Yeah.
Like, so yeah, that was from an outdated commit. I apologize. Our information is no longer correct, and that is something that we struggle with here, with especially with so many changes coming into the game, and just a volley of changes and commits up into update launch time. It is hard to maintain the accuracy of the information, but that was based off an older commit from several days ago, and it's no longer relevant. So it does look like diesel will be consumed quicker. And yeah, thanks for pointing that out.
Do you know when and if there will be new caves? Seems like it's been a long time since it's been talked about, with not much happening.
Well, I feel like weren't they working on some more procedural caves? Wasn't there some work on caves the other month, but then we haven't seen much from that? That's like ringing a bit of a bell, but man, it's been a crazy couple months. So
Yeah, it's true. Yeah, there was some, but it's been silent since.
yeah, yeah. So we did see some work on some cave changes and some more. I think it was just going to be some more advanced cave systems, but I'm not sure if I'd say that's officially in concept limbo now, or if it's just being worked on in the background, or took a temporary pause for, like, say, some Hack Week stuff or something. But I do think, given that we saw at least that the start of that project, I do imagine we'll have some changes to cave systems at some point in the future.
One sec. Okay, let me see here. Is there any updates on pits?
On, I thought you said pits, and I was like,
Ah,
pits, pets. Pets, they're not much update. That's another thing, that's a project. It's been in the works now for, I believe, this whole year, if not a little bit more than that. And we've seen a number of commits throughout the year making progress. It does look like there's going to be several types of dogs at the very least that you'll be able to make a pet through, like, some sort of taming process with a taming collar that you'll use. And then once you have the pet, you'll be able to, control, point them around and kind of tell them what to do, guard you or go over there, whatever. But with that, we haven't seen it merged into any staging branch for testing yet. And that's really the big sign in our world on something's like imminently going to come in the game, is that it gets on staging and we can test it. And thus far, we have not seen any of the several pets branches, get to that stage. So I do think pets are still coming at some point. I probably at this point early next year, maybe quarter one of next year. It seems like, given the amount of commits that we've seen over the months and months it's been worked on, that it's probably got to be sort of close to being able to be tested. But yeah, haven't seen any progress on it recently, or big updates to that project.
I see some people asking about a recap, but we will do that after these questions, and then we do a recap, and then a few more questions.
Cool.
Let me see the next one. At which one? Wait, hold on. At which event does the UI pop up? Will it pop up in if the crates is activated?
Yeah, I think it's when oil rig comes online, so the crates, activated. When there's an airdrop showing up, when the patrol helicopter comes out, um, and things like that. I believe it's pretty much any server event, like the cargo ship comes out. You're just going to see a little notice, a little UI thing come up on the bottom right of the screen.
I think I just saw one in the bottom, in the middle above your
Oh, is it
hotbar.
in the middle above the
Yeah,
hotbar? Okay,
A
cool.
green
yeah, yeah.
icon, and it
That
says Ulrich is, yeah.
There we go. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So it's in the
that
middle.
was just for the new crate coming, I think. So the oil was actually ready to be done. So I can go check if it triggers when the crate's triggered too.
Cool. And I just spawned a cargo ship event.
I was clicking the wrong button to talk. So let's try.
That'll happen.
Do we have the updated cooldown times for the world events like oil rig and cargo?
No, I do not have that. I will try to get that on the article, but we did not nail that down.
So did anyone get a message that I set the crate off?
I did not see.
No, I didn't see one either. So I think it's when rig came online, so it was reset basically, rather than when the crate actually gets triggered.
Yeah, that makes sense. Okay.
Did they fix the nodes spawning inside the rock terrain?
I am not 100% on that. I think I did see some tweaks maybe, but I can't confirm that that is 100% fixed. And I think we should do a recap because the server update is going to come out here in about 10 minutes or so, and there's a lot to go through. So once again, if you have any questions, though, feel free to do shadow_rustified in chat. We'll get to them pending time availability. But if you're just tuning in and like, hey, when's the wipe? When's this update hitting? Well, it's soon. It's like 24 minutes from now, if not less. And generally speaking, what we see is in about 9-10 minutes, we'll see the server update go live. And then what we'll see is the about 10 minutes later, we'll see the client update and the dev blog go out. And that's when we say the update is live. This server update, well, this whole update does force a map wipe, as all first Thursday updates do. There's no forced blueprint wipe. However, many, or I should say most Rustified servers do wipe blueprints when the update hits, with the exception of our medium 3 servers. But let's do a little recapity cap here. The name of the game this month, man, is quality of life. The team at FacePunch did an incredible job reaching out to the community and then just trucking along on making a slew of changes. So many changes that the article on rustified.com wasn't enough. We needed to create an ancillary Google Doc that lists out even more of the quality of life changes. So I do recommend you check out rustified.com, view the article, and also that ancillary doc to get a full rundown of what these changes are. But in the time we have left, I'm going to try to run through and let you know what has changed. I do see some people talking about labs. Can we go view the underwater lab, see how big it
I was
is?
just about to ask that if
Sure,
we can
yeah.
Yeah.
check
I was
you're
just
doing
getting
a
ready for the
recap.
recap, wondering.
Yeah. Well, let's start with just showing off some of those labs, and
Sure,
that's
okay.
perfect because the first step of our recap is in the progression realm, the changes that will impact progression. And one of those big ones is there is now only one underwater lab on the map. Previously, there were 3. Now there are. Ooh, server update just hit, man. That was maybe a little early, but awesome. So the server update is live, and that is a good sign for getting this update out on time here. But I'm gonna truck along uh, with this recap here. So yeah, 1 underwater lab instead of 3 per map. But with that, the underwater lab is on the larger scale. So they basically spawned in 25 and then took like the largest one and placed that one on the map. Also, the reset timers on oil rigs and on oil rigs have been increased. The cargo ship event will happen less often. And they've also tweaked the heli loot, so there's less chance of getting low tier weapons. There's no more chance of one low end attachment or a single laptop or CCTV. So the heli loot should overall, by and large, be better. Also, they removed the stone spear from elite and hackable crates, so you're no longer going to find a friggin' stone spear in there. And quarries and pump jacks now run on diesel. We need to update the numbers on the website for that because they're out of date based on an older commit. but we'll get to that after the update here. But just know quarries and pump jacks run on diesel, and you can find much more diesel around the map because they have added diesel spawns to various monuments around the map where previously there weren't any. And then also they've increased the storage on various items. The hot air balloon has been up from 12 to 18 slots. The boat, same thing, 12 to 18. The rib, 30 to 36 slots. So now there's 36. And the sub has been upped from 12 to 18 slots as well, as far as storage is concerned. Now, in the realm of rating, there have been a number of balance changes and new additions there that will shift how rating works. Specifically, armored door and armored double door HP has been buffed from 800 to 1000. That means instead of 2 C4 to get through one of those armored doors, it is now 3 C4 to get through one of those armored doors. Also, external walls and gates now have this debris blocker thing, and that prevents spamming down of new walls and stuff during a raid. These debris blockers last 120 seconds and have 300 health. And so basically, you'll have to wait the 2 minutes to put down another wall, or you can destroy that debris blocker. It has an HP of 300, so your best bet, although you can use any tool, really, your best bet is probably going to be a jackhammer, and you can, get through that pretty quick and then replace another item. Also, the despawn time of many higher end items has been increased to 60 in life minutes. So that means that if you're in a raid and the people are trying to despawn stuff, you're going to have much more time to get the items dropped on the floor, especially the good ones, because they will last a full 60 minutes now. They also did fix some exploits where people could hit weak spots that they shouldn't have and get through places easier than was intended, and those have been tied up. Also, with this, it looks like certain bunkers and things are no longer viable. Some bunkers seem to be viable still, but certain types of loot bunkers are no longer as viable with some of these changes. Also, in general quality of life, they are displaying a UI alert when server events happen. That's right above your hotbar in the middle. It'll show like when cargo ship happens or attack heli comes or when the oil rigs are online. Also, the upkeep time, instead of showing just greater than 72 hours when you have a lot of upkeep, there it now shows X number of days. So you can see like 9 days of upkeep instead of just greater than 72 hours. Also, they allow rotation in roof blocks before placement. External walls and gates can be rotated 90 degrees instead of 180 degrees before deployment. They updated the T3 workbench deploy guide, so it now uses the complete model to fix some placement issues with that. They also updated the stone gate deploy guide, so it includes the rotated doors to indicate the open direction, so you can more easily see which way the gate is going to open before you deploy it. They also removed the condition on most electrical entities, so they stack easily when picked up. And that doesn't apply to like everything like batteries, solar panels, windmills, and turrets, but it does apply to those smaller electrical entities. And also, we've got the garage door no longer requires hammer to be equipped to be picked up. It still requires building off and the lock removed, but it's now in line with other doors with regards to that. They've reduced the crafting time on all grenades and embrasures. And the rowboat now dismounts the player if it's inverted and won't allow mounting if the boat is already flipped. They did a number of fixes as well. They fixed the patrol heli getting stuck in fishing village on certain seed. They fixed patrol heli and CH-47 not patrolling randomly to safe zone monuments. They fixed UI resolution scaling, so it's readable at 4K. That looks great in the F1 menu and everything. It just looks a lot better. They fixed doorways, door frames, and windows snapping to the floor rather than the top of walls when building jump ups. They fixed right clicking into repair bench, not swapping items. They fixed a gap that was allowing line of sight access at the coaling tower exit corridor. They fixed the button so it passes through full power for 0.5 seconds when connected in pass through mode, so it behaves like originally intended. They fixed getting stuck on the top of netting placed in wall frames. They fixed player labels not showing up in a bunch of different instances when you're wearing certain stuff. They fixed the deploy offset of the press button so it can be placed near the floor. They fixed a bunch of stuff, man. And they added code locks to cars. So key locks are replaced now with code locks on modular vehicles. So if you want to add a code lock to a car, simply take it to a lift, add a lock. It's still the same price, 75 frags. You can set the code, and once you type that code in, you're whitelisted, so you don't have to enter the code multiple times. If you want to break into a car, you can do so by getting the chassis health down to 20% or lower, and that will trigger a brake lock command. You can also, if you're so inclined, push the car to a vehicle lift, but keep in mind pushing is disabled in safe zones. It looks like we might have some more functionality with these car code locks at some point in the future, such as like guest codes and things like that. But as it stands now, this is just an initial implementation, and we might see some more in the future. Also, quarries and pump jacks now use diesel, and with that, the outputs have been tweaked, and there's been more diesel loot drops around the map. So, water treatment plant, power plant, military tunnels, junkyard, and airfield, you will now find diesel where previously you wouldn't. Also, the mining quarries now give items over time rather than dumping them all at once. And the numbers that we had based on commits seem to be a little off. Now, question, Artemis, did you still got the same yield, but it just was done quicker, right?
I'm not sure. I'm just showing the yields at the moment for one diesel. So at the moment it looks like just over 5k stone and a k metal. Is that what you had originally?
Yep, that's what we had originally. So I think where we're really wrong on Rustafied.com, and once again, this was just
Time,
based
yeah.
off an old commit, is the time. We said one diesel was consumed in 40 minutes. It looks like that's been upped significantly. I want to say like 15, 20 maybe.
I think it was a little less than 15 to be fair.
Even, yeah, even less. And same with the pump jack. It's consuming one diesel in less time, but you're still getting 60 crude and 170 low grade fuel from one diesel at pump jacks. And the yield on the quarries for one diesel, what we're seeing is 50 high quality metal or 1K sulfur or around 5K stone and 1K metal ore. So those are the new kind of, uh, you know, outputs for the quarry and pump jack. And once again, they're running on diesel. Now, also to keep this recap going, and once again, the server update is out. We're just waiting on the client and dev blog, which should be in a couple minutes here. So this update is really any moment before it hits, and we'll wipe all the servers and have some fresh wipe gameplay action. But moving on, we've got a nerf to shotgun slugs. The shotgun slug now does 50% damage at 40 meters. Previously, it was 75% damage at 80 plus meters. So what you're seeing is at 40 meters or beyond, there's going to be a much bigger drop off to the damage dealt when you're dealing with shotgun slugs. Now, the flip side to that is shotgun slug now does 100% damage at 0 to 20 meters, where previously it was only 0 to 10 meters. So you'll get a little bit more damage in that 10 to 20 meter mark, but overall, this is primarily a nerf because that 40-meter drop off is huge compared to what it used to be. Also, we've got a caboose at Outpost. So if you've been craving some blackjack, but you want a safe zone to do your gambling in, well, now you can play blackjack in a safe zone because the caboose has been added to Outpost, and it is just a normal caboose. So you can play not only blackjack, but also poker and slots there and enjoy the benefits of safe zone. Also, Rust is turning 9. December 11th is Rust's 9th birthday. And for that, join up the servers the day of. And there's going to be a special event where you spawn with cake and party hats, and you'll find balloons and loot around the server. And it's just a fun time for just that day only to celebrate the birthday of Rust. And just a huge thank you once again to FacePunch for continually updating this game. I mean, it's been about 10 years now, and they've been building and maintaining and improving and adding to this amazing game every single week, every single month, nonstop for years now. And so just a huge shout out and thank you to the entire team at FacePunch for your tireless efforts with making this game the awesome thing that it is. And here's to another 9 years of development. Am I right? I don't know if we'll have another 9 years, but shit, maybe I would take it, you know? I can't imagine what this game would look like at another 9 years of development. We'll have like spaceships and intergalactic travel or some shit. I don't know. But anyway, happy birthday, Rust. And now also other stuff. Burst module has been added to the MP5 and LR300. So just in line with the prototype gun that was added the other month, now by default, when you have an MP5 or an LR300, you can press the M button to switch fire mode, and that will say burst fire enabled or burst disabled when you hit M. And now with that, if you're thinking, ooh, now I can recycle these and get a burst module, well, it looks like consistently with the LR, you can get a burst module on recycle, but the MP5 doesn't seem to be dropping a burst module every time. So keep that in mind just if you're really looking for a burst module. Now, also, last but not least, the team has been working a bunch on the upcoming Xmas event. This is going to be Rust Xmas 2022. And we've seen a bunch of commits around this, so it looks like some new functionality and awesome stuff is coming. If you've never been around a Rust Xmas event, it's pretty cool. There's jingle bells that you'll hear once every in-game day, and then around every player in the server, some present boxes spawn. You whack the boxes open and you get some actual presents. There's small, medium, and large presents. You can upgrade small to medium, medium to large, and then you can open them at any point and get varying degrees of loot. And on top of that, Santa's sleigh goes overhead instead of the airdrop, and it drops better loot. And there's a bunch of seasonal items. And it looks like this year some new awesome functionality is coming. It looks like some like gingerbread portals and stuff like that. So there is also some new stuff in store coming. I believe that's going to be either the 15th or the 22nd. I'm thinking the devs will probably announce specifically when that update will hit if they haven't already. But we will, of course, on Rustafied.com give you a full summary the week of everything you as a player need to know about the Xmas event. And yeah, I think that does it. And once again, we're just checking in here. The server update is out. We expect the client update to hit momentarily, and then we'll say the update is officially live. Let me see if we got a dev blog yet. And yeah, and in the meantime, if we have any news, or no, I'm looking at the news. Big quality love. Yeah, devblog is out. Hot damn. There we are. Let me tweet about it. And they call it the big QOL update. And man, if that ain't the truth. So this is cool.
Questions?
Yeah, let's take another question or two as we're just waiting for this client update to hit
Oh,
here.
we have a lot of them though.
Okay.
Are you now able to harvest the entire planter box at once? And is the blackberries useful now?
So with the planter box, yeah, they did improve it so that you can harvest all, and it'll just harvest the ones that are ready to be harvested. So that's a big quality of life. Blackberries, I'm not clear. Do you guys know with the blackberries?
No, the blackberries. I don't think you can. There's anything been added functionality wise with those.
Yeah, it's
No,
not
I
ringing any
haven't
bells. But
No.
in the F1 console. Okay, next. Any news on Brazil servers?
no news on Brazil servers quite yet. Um, the long and short with that is we're still waiting on the hardware to actually get through customs. TLDR, we sent hardware, it waited, it got stolen. We sent more hardware, it's just been waiting in customs. It's in Sao Paulo customs fucking somewhere. And once it gets through customs, we'll happily host the servers out of Sao Paulo again. But in the meantime, they're hosted out of Texas. That was supposed to be a very temporary thing that has turned into several months because we just can't get this freaking hardware actually delivered. So I'll let you know as soon as we have an update with Brazil. I'm not giving up yet. But man, am I at my limit with this Brazil bullshit. I do love you guys though. I want to be hosted out of Brazil. So we're trying, but no real update yet. If you know anyone at customs in Sao Paulo, let me know.
What happens if you raid a high external wooden wall?
Yeah, let's show that real quick.
Sure.
When will this Santa update be?
The Santa update is mid December, And my thought is either the 15th or the 22nd. Let me see. I haven't read the whole dev blog yet. Do they mention Christmas coming? Oh, and I forgot to mention, it's in our ancillary doc, but they did add new color wires and everything, and you can recolor the wires, which is really cool. Yeah, they did a bunch of great stuff here. But holy cow, what a quality! This is like the biggest dev blog I've ever seen, I think. Oh yeah, and the Christmas update. There we go. On the 15th. That is when Christmas will come. So 2 weeks from today, December 15th, they'll be releasing a mandatory server and client update, and that will enable the Christmas event. And that will run likely until through the new year. And yeah.
How many rockets to destroy an armored door? 5.
5, yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Have they increased the consumption of giant excavator?
Oh, client update is out. Sorry. Let me tweet about it. Just saw it hit. 1 second. All right, awesome. So with that, the update is live. Server update hit like 15 plus minutes ago, and then the client update just hit. So that means all the servers are going to be updating now. It is a forced map wipe, no forced blueprint wipe, but many servers, including Rustafied servers, do choose to wipe blueprints when the update hits. And so that's it. We're going to go make sure the servers get wiped and up smoothly and timely and everything like that. I encourage you to update your Rust client. If you don't see an update on your Steam library yet, you can restart Steam or you can verify the integrity of the game files. You don't have to do the full thing, but you can just start that process and then cancel it, because the first thing it does in that process is query Steam for a new update, and then it'll trigger the client update to hit. But go update your clients and then get in on some fresh wipe action with all this amazing quality of life changes coming in here. I want to once again thank Facepunch for the awesome work that they've done over many years, getting just one more update out right on time, even early. So awesome work, Facepunch. Happy birthday, Rust. And thank you guys for everything that you do. I want to thank Artemis and Shadow, my co-MCs. Thank you for being here as always.
You're welcome as always.
Yep, welcome as always.
And thank you to the entire team at Rustafied for all that you guys do. And then just a huge thank you to everyone tuning in. Once again, we are an independent organization. We're not developers of the game. We're not on the Facepunch payroll. We are just independent fans of the game who love the game and love reporting on development news and running the best servers that we can. And the only way that we can continue to do that is through the support of you. So if you give bits, if you subscribe on Twitch, and to our wonderful, beautiful VIP customers, thank you guys all so much for the support. Much love to you all, especially during this holiday season and everything. We will be back as always every Thursday, 1 p.m. Eastern. We are here reporting on development news for an hour. Rustafied.com, there's an article every week, and check out us on Twitter, Rustafied on Twitter, for news throughout the week. But with that, we're going to wind this stream down and go get the servers updated. Thank you all. And wow, I just had a total brain fart right at the end there, but thank you all, and have a wonderful week and a wonderful wipe. This is Bugs signing off.